Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Alter Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. I am your host, Charlie. I'm joined once again by the prolific commenter himself, Zealeus.
Yeah, what's up, Mr. Charlie Everett Hawkins III?
I am finally mostly healthy for the first time since basically the last time we broadcast, which is probably why you have not seen me at all on Alter Confusion.
So, to me, it's like you weren't even sick, because I see you on Thursdays, and holy juggalos. So, yes, it's been a good week. I am in my last week of school for 2 weeks, which is glorious, because Christmas break in schools is the best thing ever, because we get all kinds of candies and cookies and gifts and all kinds of fun stuff, because that's what you do. You give other people stuff. Yes, and it makes me happy to eat other people's candy. It was good times.
I had a holiday party today. I made a ton of mashed potatoes.
Yum yum in my tummy. The people appreciate the Charlie potatoes.
I think so. They ate half of them, so.
Excellent. So now you have leftover potatoes for the week.
Yes, I do. I do indeed have leftover potatoes.
If I ate mashed potatoes, I would have ate some for dinner, but I do not eat mashed potatoes because it is against my religion.
What?
I don't eat mashed potatoes. Have you ever actually seen me eat mashed potatoes?
No.
Yeah.
You're Catholic. It's not against your religion. You're not Irish Catholic.
Well, I'm half Catholic and I'm half Devalist. So there's the Devalism part of my tenets that I subscribe to. And that tenet say, thou shalt not eat mashed potatoes.
Oh my God.
And I subscribe to this because it makes sense in my own warped world. And that's really what matters. It's relativism at its best.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well.
Moving on from mashed
potatoes, let's get into the what has been going on in the world of gaming. Zealeus, I'm going to let you take this first story. It has to deal with a game called Hatred that was on Greenlight, then was taken off of Greenlight, and then was put back on Greenlight. So give us a little...
So basically, it's a game called Hatred. As a little background, basically the game, its build, and all it really is literally an ultra-violent game where the entire point of the game is to mindlessly destroy everything in a very graphic and violent manner. Mm-hmm. It's just pure violence and graphic stuff, over the top, MA rating, etc., etc. Well, it probably doesn't have a rating, actually.
But it would be the equivalent of it.
Yeah, so it's just completely over the top. And basically this would have been 2 days ago now, I want to say. Whoever the overlord of Steam Greenlight is, decided that the game was going to be pulled basically because it's against its TOS without really giving an actual reason for it. And, you know, the Hatred developer was like, you know what, we respect Steam's decision to make this. It's their right to. We'll get on with our lives and do our thing. But then Gabe Newell, I never actually probably say his last name right.
That's right.
Newell, right. Yeah. And so Gabe sees it, and he's like, what the hell? And basically it's like, okay, that was a crack of load of bleep that the game got pulled. I am making the executive decision because I'm Gabe and I rock to put it back up on Steam Greenlight. One of the reasons this was a big news is Hatred, I think, was actually like number 7 on the Greenlight rankings. So it's not like it was just some like podunk game that nobody ever heard of. It was actually something that had, you know, made something of itself on the Greenlight. And of course, the other reason that it made news is the reality is that on the PC platform, Steam is basically the de facto standard for distribution of new video games. Especially if you're not like, you know, an EA who has Origin. Or, you know, I'm
never going to use Origin.
Fair enough. Or, you know, Blizzard who has your own Battle.net. You know, if you're not one of the big...
Battle.net screwed me over, so I'm not using Battle.net. Keep going.
Has Steam ever screwed you over?
No.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing is, you know, you got these big AAA titles, AAA companies who can't seem to get their online distribution platform running well, and yet you have Steam, who, you know, has a wide variety of publishers and developers and etc. that they distribute games on, and you almost never hear really bad things about Steam. People aren't like, oh, I hate Steam, I hope it burns in hell. Because people actually like using the Steam platform because it does things right.
Right.
But the point is, you know, Steam really has a lot of influence and power over what goes on in the PC world. And, you know, the idea of Steam basically, on a whim, it seemed like, pulling Hatred kind of shows, like, whoa, they really do have a whole lot of power. And it kind of raises that question, the kind of the gatekeeper syndrome, kind of like the Apple syndrome. Is that really a cycle that Steam wants to get into of, basically being the arbiter of morality for video games? Especially, you've had in the past where Steam has basically came out and said, like, basically games are, the right to free speech and we should be able to put out whatever the hell we want for video games.
Right.
And so it's kind of the idea. And then it's very easy on video games to get into the whole gray area. It's starting into other games that are pretty close to the hatred, like, say, Postal or Postal 2. I don't think actually Postal 2 is actually on Steam, though, because that's an AO only game, adults only. So you have other games that are pretty darn violent, too, that Steam has had, or maybe not had. Manhunt, thank you. That's what I'm thinking of, actually, is Manhunt. So it's not the first time. They do have games that are on Steam, such as Manhunt 2, because it's an adult-only game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you'd have Postal. Good Lord. These games are just confusing my head. Hatred would probably want to actually get a rating because, well, it's not really being published by a major publisher. But, it's just kind of have power on the PC, and who holds the power is them. Granted, you have other online distributors. You got Good Old Games. You have Green Man Gaming, I think, is another one. So you do have other titles, but a lot of them are, especially like Good Old Games, well, guess what? They're all about the old games.
Yep.
But especially for indie games, trying to get on the Steam Greenlight, that can make or break an indie title who's banking on that Greenlight success. And all of a sudden, arbitrarily gets shut off Greenlight. It's like, well, we're going under now. Great.
Yeah. To me, it is obvious that Steam is the gatekeeper for digital distribution on the PC platform, and it's pretty damn close. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't own a Mac, so I don't know, but I know that when it went on the Mac, there was much rejoicing.
Yes.
And then, of course, they also have they've also got a little bit of Linux in there as well, which shows you their power, and everyone, of course, rejoices every single time they extend.
Yep.
Now, of course, my one issue is the Steam box, but we're not going to go into that. But you're right. Steam is really the gatekeeper. If you are an independent developer and you're looking for a way to get your game noticed, Steam is definitely the platform you want to get it on. Of course, Greenlight, I think, actually also has some funding aspects to it, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it does.
I'm not sure.
I know that Steam or Valve is in the process of reevaluating Greenlight. Greenlight is kind of going away. Not just this incarnation. Yeah, incarnation of it. They're going to change it because there are some people who try to abuse the system who have shit-tastic games. I'm going to be honest. A lot of developers out there, or a lot of individuals out there who want to be developers, they're interested in trying to get a fast buck. So they try to do some kind of gimmick kind of crap thing. And then if I'm right, I think Greenlight actually gives you some a little bit of financial help. I think that's probably one of the reasons.
Well, that's also, anytime, because you have like kind of the voting system, whatever you want to call it, Greenlight.
Right.
And the reality is anytime you have an online element on the internet that has any kind of human influence over it that doesn't require money to have influence, things are very easy to throw off.
Right.
People are going to make their life mission to be like, haha, this system is flawed, basically. Or to, screw it up as much as possible. And Steam Greenlight's no different, where people are going to try to, basically game the system when there's the human element involved.
Well, I mean, okay, so some of the other systems for like this Greenlight thing, of course, the top of the list is Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And Kickstarter has had to revise their rules a lot to try to stop from basically people gaining all the money and then disappearing into the ether.
Yeah.
Another one, of course, you got Indiegogo out there, which is very popular with a lot of independent developers. You also have the Ouya initiative, though, that they scrapped the first one. Now, Ouya will reach out to you with a contract to get you to make it an Ouya exclusive for 3 months, and they'll give you a little extra money. But it was at one point they would like I think they would double up to a certain amount. And what people were doing was they were getting up to that certain amount and then returning that certain amount back to the investors and then utilizing the money that Uyas gave them.
Okay.
Which, of course, is a no-no. Okay. Yes, I'm very happy to see Hatred get back on Greenlight. Freedom of speech, make your game.
Which in reality is probably a game I'll never play.
Right, absolutely. I don't foresee myself shooting pedestrians. That's just not my type of game. But hey, there's people out there who like that kind of stuff. And the only little caveat, the little asterisk I put next to it is it's just a game. Do not reenact, please, for the love of God, for the betterment of the entire gaming community. Do not try to reenact anything you see in a game.
And obviously, if you're an adult watching, you probably should not have your kid playing this game either.
Yes.
That should be obvious. Play the game before your kid does.
Okay, we're not going into parenting, okay? Because then we'd go way over 30 minutes. Okay. So another thing that has kind of been creeping up in the news, it has not been posted on Alter Fusion yet. I just read about it today. I'm going to hopefully be able to be well enough and have enough time to actually post. Actually, first off, congratulations to Alter Fusion. You are now classified as games, so my work network will no longer allow me to get to you.
It's time to build that home proxy.
I know. So, anyways, okay. So back to whispers that have kind of been raising through the ranks here. Blizzard is contemplating. Okay, WildStar. WildStar has that two ways to play. You can either pay the monthly subscription, or you can buy the cred package or whatever it's called.
Excuse me.
Blizzard is contemplating a system kind of like that.
For World of Warcraft.
Yes, for World of Warcraft, where you would turn in gold for playtime.
Interesting.
Zealeus, what are your thoughts? Since you're more of the MMO player.
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking, this is the first I've heard of this story. So, from what you know, when you say gold, do you just mean in-game gold strictly?
Yes, absolutely.
So, basically, my guess of what's going to happen, just based on experience previous MMOs, basically on any shard or server, whatever your MMO choice calls it, basically the way that people make their money is off the auction house. And the reality is most MMOs, when it comes to your own server, like you have the 1%ers.
Right.
I mean, that's it. You have those people who know how to play the auction house and play it very well. And a lot of times, those people who do it, they're also supplemented by real gold. And that's the real gold that they buy, like, basically real money auction houses, which you're not supposed to use. It's all against basically all TOS in all games. Because basically the strategy that a lot of players do is they have a large enough fund, and so you got gold pixels. This gold pixel normally goes for 10 gold. What they're going to do is they have enough bank reserve where they buy every single gold pixel for 10 gold, and then they flip it around and sell that for 20 gold. And obviously you have to have a very large cache of money to do that in the first place.
Of course.
And so that's where a lot of players, this upfront money that they get is from buying real money in the real world. And so that's where I'm kind of like, and especially World of Warcraft. I mean, you have people that have been playing this game for 10, 15 years, good lord, however long it's been out. And, people obviously perfected how to ace the auction house.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm kind of like, I know as a player, I'm never going to be into that stuff just because, even if, say, I ever go back to World of Warcraft, I'm not going to be into it just because I've never been an auction house player because it does not appeal to me. But there's people who that's going to be their life. It already is their life, is winning at the auction house. So there will be a very small percentage of players who are never going to pay a cent in the game anymore because they're going to be able to win at the auction house. But my experience, at least, the large majority of players, not going to affect.
I agree. I think. I mean, I don't know if Blizzard will actually ever implement this, and it would be very interesting to see what would happen. I think that you would see the vast majority of people just continue to do what they do.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to cause this crazy change of gaming or playing styles or like have a huge influx of new players.
I don't see it changing anything.
You may have that immediate kind of like new car smell type of situation where a lot of people are like, oh shit, I could, I'll buy World of Warcraft, play the 30 days, just stock up on gold, and then I'll be able to play forever. And then when you hit that 30-day mark, you don't have any gold, you'll probably disappear.
What'll be interesting to me to see is, and a game like WildStar, when it came out with their cred stuff, everybody started at 0 gold, obviously.
Yep.
So it was probably pretty easy for Turbine. No, is it Turbine who did WildStar?
Oh my gosh, you had to ask. I was
well, whoever does WildStar, Turbine comes to mind for some reason.
I know that's Lotro.
Yeah, whatever. Turbine does a bunch of MMOs. Carbine, Turbine, whatever. One of those Ein companies, Star Ein. So basically, they everybody started 0 gold. Whereas where you got World of Warcraft, you got people who started playing yesterday.
Yep.
And then you got people who been playing 10 years.
Yep.
And they probably got people in the game who have like 80 billion gold by this point. So it's kind of
like 80 billion.
80 billion. Sorry, wrong. So you got people with 80 billion gold who will never. And then, can they sell that gold to people in game to make real money? I don't know. But you also have money sinks in the game now because then you have housing and all that other crap that I guess you can spend your gold on. So I haven't been involved enough in World of Warcraft to say how that's going to work.
Right.
But just my experience is you're going to have a small percentage of players who actually get the benefit from this, who can make enough gold.
I think it follows the line of WildStar. If you are a hardcore enough gamer and that is your life, then you're probably going to be able to game for free. And those type of people will probably be those individuals who will talk to their friends and say, hey, look at, if you really dedicate yourself, you could be like me. And you might get some followers or whatever, but I think, like I said, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference if this actually gets implemented. Now, of course, this is just a whisper. It's just a rumor. It's not like tomorrow Blizzard's going to be like, guess what?
We're going to do Diablo 3 and have a real money auction house.
Yeah, that went really well. Okay, this is digital. This next topic is digital. It's not really gaming, but I did want to just touch on the topic really quickly because this is, in my mind, true absurdity.
Okay.
There are a huge faction of Netflix users who are starting to scream and yell that they are not able to view the Netflix movies while offline. Netflix is a streaming service. Streaming means online.
I think this came about because last week or something, some investor or somebody having to do with the Netflix in some capacity was like, yeah, maybe Netflix will look into offline streaming or something. And then the next day, some high up executive Netflix came out and was like, no, we're not doing offline streaming. Not happening. Ever, never gonna happen. And it came about because I think I know I've read the headlines, but if I remember there was one specific device that was having issues. So Netflix was looking to caching for this one particular device, just so people using that one device could actually use it with Netflix. But by no stretch of the imagination was it something they're looking to do worldwide global caching. It's not happening. It's just not. That's the reality. Which you got two problems. One, you got the technical issue of anytime you start having storage stored on a device and it's just not, point to point basically encrypted like it is now, there's that much more of a potential for basically pirating of that, which in turn leads to why publishers or distributors, whatever, Sony, etc., would probably balk at this idea.
Right.
And be like, that's funny. Maybe if you charge, I'll tell you what, guys, we'll charge you triple and allow it. How's that?
Yeah.
Or something like that. So, yeah, no, I don't see offline streaming ever coming to Netflix.
You know what offline streaming is for Netflix? It's called discs in the mail. That's offline streaming.
Or if you need offline streaming, guess what? Go to iTunes.
Or Redbox.
Well, iTunes, you can download the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, so there are options.
But Netflix, I'm paying a subscription to stream.
Sorry, guys, not gonna happen.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just wanted to put that out there.
And it would kind of destroy Netflix's business model.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their business model. I mean, they are the golden goose. Why would they
change anything?
Yeah, they have no reason to change that. You know, maybe 5 years from now, if they start seeing a market dip, okay, maybe there's a reason to look into what you're doing. But for now, it's like, it works, man.
All right. Zealeus named a company. And while you were saying the distributors that I do want to bring up, who continue to have humongous issues with protecting people's data. And that, of course, is Sony. This time is Sony Pictures, I believe, that got nailed by the North Korean hackers who have now caused the movie The Interview to disappear, which has also caused a bunch of activists to say, well, we're going to find the pirated version of The Interview and make DVD copies and then drop those copies into North Korea. And also because The Interview has been pulled, it has caused a couple of movie theaters in protest to go, well, if you're not going to let us show The Interview, we're going to show Team America.
Well, technically, Sony didn't drop distribution. It's the movie theaters who dropped distribution.
No. Sony says we have no plans to ever show this film.
That's because the cinemas did it first. The cinemas did it first because Carmike did it first, and then the other ones followed suit.
I know.
And then once they did it, then Sony followed suit.
Right. It wasn't 100% participation though. Sony saw what was going to happen, so they pulled. They said, "Oh, no release, no Christmas release," and now they've gone further and said, "No release ever."
That's sad. The movie actually looks kind of funny.
Which is why that of course stemmed a bunch of the Texas movie theaters. Gotta love those Texans.
Don't tread on me.
To replace it with Team America, which of course Paramount's come out and said, no, you have no right to show that movie. So there you go. So here's an interesting thing. Okay, let's parlay this into the video game realm.
Okay.
And that is, let's say that a major publisher, EA or something, were to be hit like Sony was.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, okay, first of all, Hollywood, with their movie choices, we all know you make shit. The vast majority of the time, okay? And video games, you got to be a little bit better unless you can kind of, get people to sink their teeth into a franchise, such as Call of Duty, and you just release the same game over again and over again and over again and over again and over again. I'm not done. I'm over again and over again. And oh, by the way, we're going to switch out one map and then over again.
Are you counting in your head?
Yeah. And over again.
And more to come.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so I know it would be much more difficult for because the video games are a little bit more stricter about your content. And that's why when you look at the bad guys in a lot of especially older games, it's the Russians and the Nazis. The Nazis are not enough around. I'm not going to say they're all gone because you got the neo-Nazis and all that crazy stuff. I'm not even going into that. But you have the Nazis, and there's not going to be someone going, "Hey, man, you're depicting us wrong."
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Russians are like, "Well, we got our vodka." So they don't care. But, apparently, North Korea has a problem with them being the bad guys or the butt of the joke. So my question is, do you think that I would assume that this could potentially happen on the video game side, but the likelihood of I guess the ramifications of what happened, it could never be as big as the Hollywood thing, because they not only stole, they stole social security numbers, they stole home addresses, they stole scripts, they stole really, really bad movie promo ideas for malls. Like they had a cage with like animals in it. I'm like, what is wrong with you? It's Madagascar. I don't know if it's Madagascar, but it's something like that. So
The Lion King.
So I mean, first of all, I hope that every company out there is going, holy shit, we need to like make our encryption protection like freaking nuts. Second of all, I don't care if you're the system admin, you have to log into a known area, because that's what it really came down to. Is apparently they stole the sysadmin's password, which allowed them free reign on everything. And of course, there is a rumor that Sony Pictures is going to go in the toilet because they continue to have lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, because every actor or actress that ever worked with is going, yeah.
Oops.
So my question is, as I keep, like, you know, trying to ask and then I dance away and then try to ask again.
It's all good.
Is, do you think that, first of all, that a group would go after video games, trying to stop the release of a video game? And
I think the thing that you had going on with
interview?
Thank you. Wow.
You're welcome.
Totally brain fart. I mean, the interview was a very clear, for lack of better terms, very disparaging an attack on North Korea.
Absolutely.
I mean, you might not like North Korea. Most Americans probably don't. But it was just very clear, you know, drama about how crappy North Korea is. And especially with their president being one of the targets of the movie. I mean, that's the plot of the movie. You have to assassinate Jim King, too, whatever his name is.
I don't know. Kim Jong.
Some dude.
Whatever.
The dude.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm not putting my Korean politics enough, apparently. So, and that's entire point is basically make fun of North Korea the entire movie. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is going to sound probably a little bit crazy, but there seems a little bit of a difference between, you know, a movie with that's their entire purpose versus, say, having Call of Duty 8 where you're killing the North Koreans in North Korea. It probably doesn't make much, like, logical sense, but just kind of looking at it, like, from a, yeah, there's a difference between, you know, having an entire movie making fun of Koreans than there is just having a Call of Duty 8 where you just happen to be in North Korea killing North Koreans because it's a video game. And video game people do stupid shit all the time. I also think, too, part of it is also the notoriety and also, you know, the effect of hitting Sony. You know, if you hit, you know, Podunk Studio, well, who cares?
Right.
But I mean, Sony is amazing. I mean, that's a huge conglomerate of a corporation. You know, they're in everything. Versus, even if you take out EA, well, it's just a video game company.
Right.
Where Sony is everything. I mean, what do they not do? So I think that's a big difference, too.
Tambourines.
What?
They don't make tambourines.
I thought you said.
Maybe.
You probably have
I don't know.
You might have some jewelry company out there that makes like the skins for it.
I'm sure.
So I think it's a big difference too. Is you know just Sony was kind of the perfect storm of between the movie and then the notoriety you get for hacking into Sony and doing what they did. There's just kind of a little bit of both. And movies are different. Movies elicit a different emotional response from people than video games.
Right.
You know, you're supposed to get involved with that 2 hours basically, to get really involved and engrossed in those characters. And you really care about, mocking the Koreans basically, because you're probably either Seth Rogen or Franco, you're supposed to be experiencing the movie through one of those two characters.
Right.
Whereas video games, you're just killing people.
Wow, that's interesting.
I know I'm stretching it, but I'm trying.
No, okay. So, but you're okay. So we'll go on to the Sony attack a little bit. First of all, Sony should have learned their lesson from when the Sony Online Entertainment got hacked and everyone's PlayStation 4 credit card was stolen. Basically, mine was. That was a lot of fun talking to American Express, going. So I see that you made purchases in Atlanta, and apparently also a city that I still to this day have no idea what the fuck it is.
Nice.
In California. So you would think that they would, kind of
harden their security
on all fronts, but apparently not. Shoot, I had something to just. and now it dropped.
Well, can I ask you a question then?
Yes, sir.
Do you think, because, I mean, this is a real financial issue for Sony. I mean, it's going to be a financial hit.
Yep.
And part of it is because their presence in the online world is kind of a precipice, what causes to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, a year from now, maybe we see the effect of what happened to Sony? Will other companies maybe not want to get everything online or kind of reduce their online presence because they're worried about this happening to them? Like, man, or they might not be as bold or experimental as they might otherwise be because they don't want to have another Sony.
I would think as a result, across any company, if they're smart, is my opinion, you will have layers of protection where you can have access to certain things off base and not others.
Physical security.
Right.
The problem is that costs a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And part of the problem we run into is, the bean counters.
Oh.
Or a lot of CEOs. They're in for that year's bonus.
Right.
And that's the issue you get into a lot of these companies. Look at the big Fortune 500 companies. The CEOs, they company hop.
Yep.
And they company hop. And I know, in a lot of...
You know why the company hop, right?
Bonuses.
No. Because every single job you take on they're gonna pay you more than your previous job.
Yeah.
That's why you do it.
But in order to have done that, they had to have turned a profit from that previous year.
Absolutely. Right.
So the effect is they only care about that single year's profit.
Right.
So me as the security guy, like, dude, I need to spend $1 million to save us $10 million down the road.
Right.
The CEO at the time was like, I don't give a shit about 10 years from now, dude. I just really need to save that $1 million now. Right. Nope. And as a matter of fact, that firewall that you need to fix, we're not even fixing it, man. What's the point?
Well, now we want
short-sightedness.
No, it's even that and incompetence. It's a syndrome that hits a lot of managers, CEOs, presidents, VPs. When you're up the chain, you kind of lose sight about all the inner workings, and immediately you think you know what's best, and the vast majority of the time, what's best for the company is, well, it hasn't happened yet, so why would we need to make changes?
I see it all the time in like on system admin boards when people ask about backups. The number one place I see is backup solutions for companies, and because most tech departments have a shoestring budget, so basically I have the one random tech guy who has like all the state secrets of the company in one external hard drive. That is the backup solution, is one external hard drive for the entire organization. That's worth $50 million.
Yep.
And it's like you're banking your entire company on a $1,000 solution? Really?
Yep.
It's that short-sightedness. Because the CEO is going to ask, well, does it work? Well, yeah, but, it works. You can't even go past the but.
Yeah. No offense to the technical people, because I am also a technical person, so is Zealeus. But we don't have those, glitzy, glamoury salesman speech talking abilities at all.
I've actually become very good at it. I just don't have the desire for it.
Well, there you go.
That's the hard part, man.
I apparently am supposed to be a really good salesman.
I did it for a while, and it was always having to slam your head against the wall. It just got tiring. I'm like, oh man, this is killing me.
Yeah.
Fighting the fight every day to try to get that little extra inch was just like, I'm done.
So anyways, in summation.
But it was fun when you finally got the toys.
Yeah.
Rarely, but getting those toys, it was good times.
All right, so in summation, freedom of speech is good on Steam. Hatred is back on. Thank you. Thanks to Gabe. Technically, the hackers threatening gaming companies could happen, but I seriously doubt it. Video game companies are a little bit. They don't have.
Do you also think? I'm just kind of extrapolating here.
Okay.
It also seems like, in a way, because most video games are already online. The present. I mean, to me, let's be realistic. most, we'll go AA titles and above.
Okay.
Like, they're basically online only now, all of them. I mean, that's just the reality, like it or not. It seems like they already kind of have that investment in security.
Right.
Because that is the world that they live in, is online security.
Absolutely.
So I also kind of wonder, whereas Sony is such a huge conglomerate, they have 80,000 different tentacles where I have to get that one tentacle to hack it.
Right.
Whereas, the video game are a lot more kind of refined and streamlined, where, it might also will be technically harder to hack video game companies just because that's what their niche is already, is the online world.
That's true.
In their one customer, the only way they succeed is by people being able to access their online games. I'm just kind of stretching here, I know.
No, yes. A video game company would be much more aware of their digital footprint and vulnerabilities online, especially the games that the vast majority of the AAA titles that are coming out right now that require some kind of online always feature. Diablo 3, Dragon Age. It's a single-player game, folks! For the love of God! What the fuck?
Well, Charlie gets on his soapbox. One of my favorite things is, thinking, with online security, is Blizzard. If you ask them, they'll send you a freaking authenticator. You can get an authenticator on your phone for free for the last 10 years.
Yeah, guess what? My authenticator broke, so I can't log into any of my Battle.net stuff because it's like, oh yeah, we've never seen this location before. Sign into a location where you've accessed Battle.net. I don't know of a location.
Just think of how hard your account would be to hack that.
But I can't even get in it.
But my point. Okay, I had a point here. Don't just give me a buzzkill, man.
Yeah.
But the way I was going is, you think about, I'm talking, online security for a freaking video game. And I can't even get an authenticator set up with my damn bank account.
Yeah.
That's just kind of funny to me.
Well, it's easier to hack my bank account or my credit card on my cell phone than it is to hack my Battle.net account.
Yes! Really? Really? Like, I mean, seriously, that's just effed up to me.
Yeah.
Like, how simplistic that is. It's just dumb. Two-factor authentication is not that difficult to implement.
Yeah, I know.
And you can't get financial institutions to do it. It's like, really?
Because they're exactly like the vast majority of the companies. Well, has there been a huge problem in the past? Then we don't need to change it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have gone way over the 30-minute mark.
Soapbox episode right there.
Booyah! Thank you for tuning into the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout for myself, Charlie, and Zealeus. It's been a pleasure to give you all the amazing nuggets of information that come out of our brains, hopefully coherently out our mouths and into your minds and brainwaves. So we will see you not next week, not the following week, almost a month.
Dude!
I might have to have some guest people. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know if I can go a month without doing a Thursday Night Hangout.
You just have your dog.
Hello, Arlo. No, anyways, but thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next year.
Yes. And remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world. And a happy Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever the heck you're celebrating.
Non-denominational holiday.
Just, while you're hopefully you get, hopefully get the weekend off or something.
Yeah. Anyways.
I'm trying to be inclusive. Have a good time, enjoy life. Good stuff.
Amen to that, brother.